complained to DeSantis about pressure from woke left amid Florida fight. Book as the standoff between Florida's council and the Walt Disney Organization warmed up over a training charge that liberal activists mistakenly named the "Don't Say the Gay Bill." Disney's then chief called Governor Ron DeSantis and grumbled about the pressure he confronted. Former Disney CEO privately complained to DeSantis about pressure from woke left amid Florida fight. Book DeSantis describes the discussion in a part of his new diary, The Boldness to Be Free, Florida's Plan for American Restoration, which will be delivered Tuesday by distributor HarperCollins. The section, shared only with Fox News Advanced, uncovers what Weave Chapek, who was Disney's president at that point, told DeSantis as the battle about Florida's schooling regulation warmed up in the spring of 2022. Our Americans understand the plan. Our rights come from God, not from the government. Turns out we don't have it. The wheel of God-given rights empowers the government under the Constitution to protect those rights. And I think what we've seen in more modern society is that we've seen a nunnery of those constitutional foundations. Yes, we have an administrative state that is completely outside. Controlling the violation of people's liberties has really been weaponized against those factions in the country that the ruling class does not like, and if we need to analyze this government, but what we are facing now I think does not have, which was the goal of the founders. How is this government playing out these principles in this book? My question to you is that if you went to Harvard Law, you grew up under a modest mean baseball player, but all this special Yale, and how you maintained your belief in God's conservative principles in the face of your principal through Harvard. Was it like talking about the book about your parents? I grew up in a town called Dunedin, Florida. Tampa Street. My parents are from the Petersburg area. My dad is from Western Pennsylvania. My mom is from Northeast Ohio, so she's like the steel country blue-collar salt of the earth. And if you know Mark, Florida's very eclectic people come from all over. We have a culture. Even though I grew up in that culture, it was like these Rust Belt values that raised me, that got me to Yale. I didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't even know the colleges were liberal. Was like 18 years old. Old man. I show up my first day in Florida, we wear things like jean shorts, flip-flops, and a t-shirt, so I show up my first day wearing that, and you got kids from Andover and Groton, and I was a fish out of the water, and there was a big culture shock. I wasn't a better conservative in terms of politics because I was mostly into sports and things like that. But you start sitting in some of these classrooms, and even though one of Yale's mottos is God for Country, to sit in a Yale classroom, attack NG religion, attack on God, attack on America. I am sitting in class and they are saying that America was responsible for the Cold War. Not Joseph Stalin said it is very deep, and I didn't experience that Florida, killer clown, case, man copped to 1990 murder because I grew up in Dunedin. I don't know if people were Republican or Democratic. I heard you had both. But everyone believed in basic American principles. So that was my exposure to the left, and I think about what that did for me. He was very different from her. I thought it was fair that I wasn't influenced by that, in the sense that I was pulling in that direction. If I am running for Congress, I will. I tell the story in this book that I was green before you know it. I'm faced with an impressive resume in which I served in Iraq, and there were some things that conservative primary voters would like to know. You look at Yale and Harvard. It is, as people say, Beryl Lolita stuff, and so the question was, how do I prove and what it really means that when I say, and I hear how many people you know who go to Washington say they're going to work in the swamp. In the end, principles don't fall in vain. Look at me. I went through Yale and Harvard and came out more conservative than when I went into the swamp.